thank you for making the effort to come this evening. I really do appreciate it. My name is Chelsea. I'm the founder of an organisation, Black in Government, and I'm really pleased to be here today with the BCS Embrace team to host you for this Black History Month event, discussing resilience and empowerment in tech. For those of you who are already in the industry, you know that it's a vast industry, and there are lots of different career opportunities and avenues to go into. But what people often don't realise is that there's a lot more to kind of climbing the ladder of one's career beyond getting those qualifications. The industry, again, is seeing a boom with the rise in AI and lots of different opportunities and things to come. So hopefully through today's conversation, you'll get to learn a bit more about opportunities into the public sector, but also what it can be like to work as a consultant, as an independent contractor, and somebody who's in the private sector. So we're hoping today we'll be lifting the shield on things. We've got refreshments in the back, so don't feel like you need to stand on ceremony. Please help yourself to those as well. For everyone who's dialing in online, hi, it's lovely to see you, it's lovely to have you. Feel free to share the link. And most importantly, we're really looking forward to an open and candid conversation. So that being said, I will hand over to Alvin, who will be moderating today.
Yes, people, how are we doing today? All good? Right, welcome to our Black History Month panel. It's great to see everyone, and it is a Thursday evening, right around the corner. You know what I mean? Like, the weekend booming. My name is Shaila. I will be your moderator here today, and I am a family praise and event coordinator, so I'm the one that is in charge of this whole event for everyone to come here together and connect, and also to share ideas. Because at the end of the day, we're all a community and we're all going to embrace everything together. You know what I mean? So, without further ado, I'm just going to introduce our today's panelists. That's right, I got that. So let's start with David Jordan. So David is a senior solutions architect with over 30 years of experience designing and delivering secure, scalable, cloud and hybrid solutions across a range of industries. With deep expertise in Microsoft Azure, AWS, and a solid background in .NET, C#, SQL, and modern day technologies. David brings a unique blend of technical depth and strategic thinking. His work bridges the gap between development and architecture, helping organizations build a resilient, high-performance systems that truly deliver impact. Round of applause for David, please. This is like in no chronological order. So we have Dion. So Dion is a seasoned technology leader with over 20 years of experience developing innovative digital products across public transport, education, and employment sectors. As a senior application development manager at TfL, she leads apprenticeship and graduate programs that fast-track software and DevOps engineers into impactful tech careers. Beyond her corporate work, Dion is the founder of Techfidence, a coaching platform empowering women to build confidence and advance in technology, recognized amongst the Financial Times and Inclusion Board's top 100 most influential BAME leaders in tech, a Tech Women's 50 Award winner, and now a judge for the 2025 Rising Stars Awards. Dion brings a wealth of experience, inspiration, and a passion in technology. Round of applause for Dion. And now we have Taban, an accomplished leader in a rich background spanning economics, public service, and leadership. Originally from the Kingdom of Lesotho in Southern Africa, has lived in England for over 20 years, holding a degree in economic statistics and a master's in economics from the University of Birmingham. He also used to serve as a co-chair for the Department of Educational BAME Network, strengthening inclusion and visibility across government and now is helping to establish a Men of Color platform to foster connection and community. Round of applause for the event. Anis Attar, a seasoned governance and data protection professional with a career spanning banking, digital service, and UK public sector. He's began his journey at the Central Bank of Nigeria, where he spent over a decade in Africa's banking industry with leading institutions such as GT Bank and Access Bank. After relocating to the UK, holding a master's in corporate governance, adding to his MBA and business management degree, he's a certified EU information professional and a GDPR practitioner. Round of applause for Anthony. And last but not least, we have our very own Yusuf Hassan, our industry liaison officer for BCS Embrace. He used to be a civil servant for the Department of Education, and now a senior data engineer at KPMG UK, where he leads the design and delivery of AI-driven data solutions supporting large-scale public sector transformation. Before joining KPMG, he used to drive digital initiatives that advance diversity and inclusion and social mobility in technology. Round of applause for this. Welcome, Max. Thank you so much for joining. As it is Black History Month, we all know that we're all here to drive purpose. Purpose being what you're able to hold accountability of, what you're able to what you're able to hold the narrative, making sure that everyone feels motivated and pushed on. So I just wanted to get to John real quick. So resilience often is absorbing impact without recognition. Have you ever had to succeed in silence, and how did you turn that into power? If that makes sense.
Oh, that's a killer question to start with. Thank you. Have I had to make impact in silence? Definitely. I say in technology, there's quite a low number of women. I guess I tick a couple of the boxes of underrepresented groups, and many people have been shocked that I could possibly be a Black woman and interested in tech at the same thing. So a lot of I guess my ideas and my concerns and being able to speak up in meetings would not necessarily be received that well. And I found that hard, to be honest. And especially when you have a colleague who has a similar idea of implementing something in tech, and repeat something that you may have brought up in meetings, and then that's kind of embraced. Some of the work that I may have done in the past when I was a software developer, say would be celebrated, probably not. But I've always kind of thrived off people telling me that I can't do something and using that as fuel to prove them wrong. So I just take that and keep going, knowing that I can belong here. And if people don't tell me that, that's fine, because as long as I believe in myself, that's what's important for us.
I'm answering the same questions.
So
Interesting. I wouldn't know, to be honest, because I've been the longest time I had in my career was in a startup during COVID times. So that was where I built most of my experience straight out of university. And I had to face few challenges and issues. And then there's COVID, and then you're just at home, online, So that was interesting. But once you pass that phase, it makes you more resilient, and you'll be able to recognize things before they even happen, and you'll be able to mitigate, some of these challenges and so on. Working with teams, it's good to understand that people see your ideas different. So when they see it different, that could be good and could be bad. And if it's bad, you have to be prepared to normalize that. And when you get to that level, nothing really can stop you. So I would say I was quite lucky during COVID, 3 years programming things, and then managed to get my way through that. So but I've learned quite a lot about myself, my skills. Nobody can tell me that I cannot do certain thing, or there's something will stop me from doing something new and so on.
Thank you, everyone. Resilience, that's about how do you bounce back? Is it bounce ability, if you can call it that? It's the ability to absorb pressure and deliver. It's ability to get down to the lowest it can get and still get back up. And who are the most resilient people in the world? The Black people. We have been through hell, but we are still standing. I think I've got that from my people, most importantly. So I came here 2004, I did the master's degree in economics, and I thought, with the 5 years I have from the Central Bank of Lesotho and the master's degree in economics, it should be easy to navigate my way into the labor market in the UK, but that wasn't to be. It took me a very long time. And for me to be able to again stand up and come back into the labor market, as it was, you call it attitude, you call it telling yourself, this is it, I belong here too. And I think recently I've also recognized something. We are set to fail by fear. That fear is inbred in most of us, because from the time immemorial, let's say 400 years ago, or let's start with the invasion of Kemet, the Black people have been told, you are nothing. You have to look up to the white people. You don't have a language, or you don't have a history. You don't have that, you don't have that. But once I realized who I was, then I bounced back. That is my resilience. I know who I am. Thank you.
Yes, well, I kind of agree with my esteemed colleagues. Looking after oneself and believing in oneself is kind of what I kind of did. I started my IT career at the very start of the PC boom. So doing a lot of kind of jobs in terms of getting into development or programming. They all seem to be in kind of mainframes, and there weren't a lot of Black people in those areas. So I invested in myself. I taught myself through evening classes, learned programming, and basically worked my way diligently through various companies to get to where I'm at the moment. And I'm still, teaching and learning, about the industry, because it is a very fast changing environment. So you've got to stay on top of it to progress.
Good evening, everyone, once again. I think my colleague have said it all, and I think it's a design arrangement that I'm speaking at this time, because my journey is a little bit different. I'm not really an IT person as a background, but I see myself as an IT person, as I've been shared from my profile. I started my banking career in Nigeria.
So, but then I work in a corporate governance environment whereby I work with the board of directors. And I was not contented with being an executive assistant and all that. I went and obtained masters in Nigeria then. That wasn't enough. I was converted to mainstream banking. For those who know the banking career, the way it is, banking has so many courses. You are in operation, you are in marketing, or you are in tech. So I wrote that my MD, can you convert me? I've upgraded and I don't want to be working with the directors carrying the bag and all that, attending board meeting. So when we talk about resilience, it's you being able to recognize who you are and not giving up. Fine. In Nigeria, where I obtained many degrees, but I have masters before coming here. Coming to the UK, I also have master's on that degree. But getting my toe into the corporate world was challenging. So there are many things facing us as Black community. And by the way, I didn't come here because I didn't have a job. I resigned, but I took what do you call it, study without pay to be able to come here and study. So my job was fun for me for a year, but after 4 years, are you coming back? People need this job. So I had to resign from here. So now getting back on track to even the banking industry after 10 years was a big challenge. What did I do? I embraced, as my brother has, continuous learning and development. I'll do some admin work in the night. In the morning, I'll be studying. And so to cut the long story short, I was able to see myself where I am because of being resilient, not being contented with what I have, believing that I know what I can. I'm a Black person, but I can still change my story. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you. I just want to touch on David's point as your career started or was during the technology boom. So I just wanted to ask, like, how has your career evolved over time as you know the new infrastructures, the new case of AI, and what human supplies resilience and adaptability?
Can you say that one again?
Of course. I just wanted to ask, how has your career evolved over time when you needed to use your skills such as resilience and accountability in order to lead your teams?
Well, I mean, what I did was trying to let's go back a bit. I formed a company with my wife, and one of the things we did was attend a course about running your own business. And that course said, you know, if you want to get your products known, you need to be in the places where your customers are. So back then, there was Computer Weekly, computing newspapers. So I used to sign up for all sorts of IT magazines and read them, kept them, and basically trying to follow the industry as it kind of grew, trying to kind of predict when the next big thing was going to happen. And I was kind of just behind the curve. So, you know, I wasn't a Bill Gates or anything, but I was kind of looking to do that sort of thing. It's still now, even now at the grand age of 66, I'm still interested in IT, and I kind of love the kind of buzz you get with people, you know, creating new technologies. So I'm hoping when I, you know, hang up my keyboard, to actually for kind of, you know, the corporate world, in my own private world, I will still be writing code and trying to build something that would make me a millionaire.
Dion?
Sorry, can you repeat the question?
How has your career evolved over time where you have key moments when you're showing resilience and accountability throughout the time?
So I guess since the start, really, how I got into tech was by accident. I grew up with my Caribbean grandmother in Manchester, from the beautiful island of St. Kitts and Nevis. But she is the most strictest person I've ever known in my life, and I wasn't allowed to do anything. And I feel like at an early age, when I lived with my mum, she bought me my first computer, which was, I'm not sure my age, but it was Commodore 64. It was a unit that you had to hook up to a TV, and I had the luxury of having the old TV in my room, and we'd upgraded, and I was allowed to play this to my heart's content. Unfortunately, at age 7, I had to go and move in with my grandmother, and I'm going to say it was either cultural ignorance or she just didn't believe that children should be able to make decisions. I made the mistake of walking in the house with my computer under my arm to go and hook it up to the one TV in the household, and she stopped me in my tracks. What is that? Where are you going with that? I was like, let's just say that was the last time I saw the Commodore 64. And I always blame my grandmother killing my early potential tech career. And I didn't need a computer again until my late teens. I failed my A-levels, did really well at school, but yeah, the A-levels was a mess. And I ended up getting into tech because I had to do a compromise using clearing, trying to find a university that would take me with my 2 UCAS points. And the HND was business, maths and tech. Business decision support. I love maths, love tech, and love maths, love business. I didn't know what the tech actually was, but I rolled with it because I wanted to escape from Alcatraz. And within a month, I realised this tech thing was kind of cool. But getting into tech, because there's so many different areas of it, it was very difficult to understand where to kind of place myself and what to really focus on. So I had to make a few decisions of kind of keeping on educating myself. So I ended up doing a top-up degree at another university, learning about database development on a business information technology degree. And then ended up on a 2-year graduate scheme at a company called Electronic Data Systems in Sheffield. Again, because I didn't know what I wanted to do in my career, it gave me the opportunity to try loads of different stages of the software lifecycle. So I did software testing, business analysis, requirements gathering, database design, and then at the end, I'll give programming a try, and if it gels, then we'll go with that. Thankfully, it did gel, but I never really got to focus on what I wanted to focus on. And my organisation, obviously from their business needs point of view, but then I'm looking at my peers who were afforded company training, getting sent to America to learn Java development, whereas because I had a degree, I was told, here's a book and get on with it. But I was having absolutely none of that. So it was about kind of believing in yourself. I knew it wasn't right to be treated differently. So I had to stand up for myself. So I wrote a business case as telling them why it made financial sense for them to invest in me. So I ended up getting sent to America, but I had to learn C. And then when I came back from America, I realised why they'd sent me to learn C. I had one person in the organisation who knew C, and he was close to retirement, and I was to be his understudy. And then again, I was having absolutely none of that. And so I just decided these things are things that I cannot control. Obviously, they run the business, they have the money, they decide what I focus on, but then nobody can have full control over all my time. So I decided to invest my lunch breaks and learning Java myself to try and get myself in a position where my peers were. So I managed to get a professional Java certification, thinking, brilliant, now I'm a software developer and everyone will respect me, but that was not the reality. It took me another 6 months to get anyone to take me seriously as a Java developer, and a lot of nagging and pleading, and eventually somebody allowed me to work on a business critical project, which was the Job Centre Plus vacancy kiosk. Allegedly, they're still in the job centre. But yeah, just to kind of feel, it's basically taking people's no's, reframing it as not yet, investing that time in myself, if you're not going to give it me, I will find a way, and then push through regardless. So it took me a long time, and because it took me a long time to take, and for anyone to take me seriously, I'm more going to be a Java developer for life. And I think I shot myself in the foot a little bit with that closed mindset, because I wouldn't entertain any other technologies for many, many years, and I lost a lot of opportunities because of that. But thankfully, started surrounding myself with positive-minded people, and that helped me to pivot my career into mobile app development and getting on the product that is now TFL Go travel app, which has been serving millions of users at the moment. So it's just about believing in yourself. If something doesn't feel right, speaking up, but then pushing on regardless.
Talking point on the UCAS points. So when it was not my personal UCAS, but GCSE wise, so I did my GCSEs, I was class with COVID. If that COVID predicted grades, that saved my life. I ain't gonna lie to you. If I didn't, different story. But
Right. I echo what David was saying about passion, and his great passion for technology. That's what makes your life more fulfilled, because you're doing your job, you're happy with your job, and you're always trying to be the best as well. So I really like that. And your story is really inspiring as well. For me, being a first generation immigrant, obviously, there's so many challenges and the key decisions you have to make in your life, whether you want to just work and earn some money, or you want to focus on education, get some qualifications, so that would get you through the door. So I remember I worked for probably 4-5 years, different jobs, and then just go on holiday and things like that. I was a lot younger and not thinking too much about the future. And then after a while, it hit me, because I was literally working 2 jobs and enjoying my life, enjoying myself, have friends, doing things, all these things. But then I don't have any savings. I'm just going, and I thought, okay, it's not sustainable. That's where I thought, okay, I need to go back to college or go to university. So I remember when I wanted to register for computer science, what I was being told first is, oh, computer science is really hard. You won't be able to go through the degree, or you won't be able to get the degree. And that actually made me even more wanting to go through it, because I was like, oh, somebody's telling me you can't do something, so I have to prove them wrong. So I remember I applied UCAS, you mentioned. Yeah, I applied 5 universities. I got accepted 3, some of them in London. The Russell Group universities, I didn't even know Russell Group is. So that was really funny. I put Russell Group university because I was just literally checking the good universities who have computer science degrees. And I couldn't manage to get through them, but I managed to get to one of the universities in Leicester. So I was living in Leeds at the time. I packed my things, went to Leicester. Imagine you already like made some friends and you have, your comfort zone. But I had to get out of that just to get my degree. So these are key decisions you have to make to succeed or to make a step forward. Once I finished my degree, I got a first class degree, computer science. They said you can't get through it. So, that felt really good. And then basically graduated in the COVID times. But at the same time, I was quite lucky because all these skills I had before from customer service, from different jobs and so on, really helped me. And then I was like, okay, I can go out, volunteer. Yeah, that's always open as an option. So I volunteered in the local community. And I would say I was really lucky, and I got into the industry by sticking to my traditions and cultures. And I'll tell you why. So I was volunteering in this place. I met these people first time, just say hi, who are you? And we're doing helping elderly people, deliver their medication and so on, which was great. You meet people and talk to them. And it was a bit sunny, and we went outside and there was chairs and we sit down just to have tea. And then somebody elderly came out and there was no chairs left. So I stood up and gave up my seat to him. And he was a retired teacher from my university. And then he started the conversation and he said, oh, wow, I can't believe you did that. And then we had a conversation and then he said, what are you doing? I said, well, I just graduated, but I don't know what I'm going to do. So I'm just going to volunteer and see how it goes. So he gave me an email. It was called something champion. And I didn't even know it exists. So he said, send the CV to them or cover letter and they will find something for you. And I think he spoke to the guys who were organizing that. And that's how I managed to get into the industry. Not just get into the industry, I got exactly what I was looking for. So literally they put me in a company where I did my dissertation on fraud detection. They put me in Experian. So it was like ticking all the boxes. So imagine from having nothing to being able to just cut through all the other things that you might have to go through. So then also it was a short period internship online. So quickly I was being proactive. So I asked my manager straight away what's going on. And she said, yeah, probably there won't be any jobs for you here. So I won't put you outside because it's redundancies and the second wave is coming. And she didn't survive the second wave as well. She moved to another company. But she was really good that she mentioned the importance of LinkedIn. She's going to give me a very good reference on my LinkedIn. So that I triggered straight away. I was, okay, I need to focus on my LinkedIn then. So he gave me that reference and the reference helped me for a startup company to contact me and say, are you interested? We have a role for you. So literally I did one interview with the director and he had to go and speak to the other director and I had another like very informal chat with them and that's it. I started the job. I didn't even know what my title is until the contract came through. So that's a good thing. You just always have to say yes to things. Don't worry too much. Don't overthink. Just go for it. And then worst case scenario, what's going to happen? Like it could be something great. It could be not for you. So, and then getting into data also is quite interesting. I always wanted to get into data. The role was software developer. So I thought like, oh, I'm going to be stuck with this now. So what I did is during my annual review, I negotiated, after we finished everything, I said, oh, I have one more thing. And they were like, what? I said, can I please just change my job title? And obviously that doesn't cost them anything. So I changed my job title to data engineer, but I'm thinking in the future, that would help me land other jobs. And then basically after 3 years, I got a little bit bored because I started repeating some of the stuff I've done. So I moved on to Department for Education. It had a digital transformation, it's a huge project. Some of the best people I've worked with, like the best contractors in the country as well. So that was really interesting that you have to sit down with them and then observe all the knowledge and things they can teach you. And quickly I was able to pick up the stuff on a new platform I never touched and start working on it and building things, pipelines and so on. So that was quite interesting. And then after that, I was like, okay, where my career is going? It's getting interesting now. And then so I looked, okay, maybe I can get into the Big Four, maybe I can go into banking or more in government, but government would take more time. And that's where I knew networking is the key, because the initial ones is still hard, but you might get through. But then trying to get into more senior roles, you need someone to say, oh yeah, actually, Yusuf is really good. I know him from such and such. So I started networking, different networking events. Some are small, some are big. Some I might travel on the train for an hour and people give you weird looks like, oh, you traveled for an hour. I'm like, yes. So I built a network that way. And it's good when you turn up like twice, then they recognize your face and then people will know straight away who you are. And what I did from there is giving people time to talk about, because most people you meet, they have a lot more experience than yourself. So I let them talk about the projects they're working on, try to understand what kind of challenges they're having and stuff like that. So eventually I have like a broad overview of the whole industry. And then with time, I'm like, okay, I know what's happening here. I know what's happening here. And then basically I became my own guide because whenever I go to my notes and I'm like, oh, okay, I remember I did interview such and such. Okay, they're working on that. And then I will repeat that somewhere else and it will impress somebody who will like, oh, how do you know about that? I was like, well, I had an interview some time ago. So anyway, I think sometimes we have certain skills we neglect. But if you focus on your strength point, that would put you way more forward than anybody else, and it will help you massively in your career. And sorry for taking a long time.
Yes. I have a different question. So how did you identify opportunities for growth and empowerment throughout your career?
Wow. That was long, okay? It was interesting. I think it's been a mix of different things. Initially, I grew up in Lesotho and we didn't really have career guidance. So when I went to university, I just knew that there was a minister of economics and development planning who was from my local area. So I said, okay, so there's this, I will do economics then. I will do economics, I'll be like him, because most of my classmates were going to do BCom or education or other stuff. So I go, for differentiation, I will do economics, which is a bit different from BCom, but also I know there's someone else who's a role model for me here. I can aspire to be up there like he is now. So that's how I did economics. But then I was lucky to have one of my classmates who knew about all of this stuff. He was telling me, oh, you know, economics and statistics is a very good combination. And not many people do it. And again, it's repeatedly hard. So I say, okay, fine, let's do it. So the two of us did that. And most of our classmates were like, they had started with certificate in statistics. And they were even telling us, oh, you guys were going to fail. So, okay, again, we used that as a challenge. And that took us through from throughout university. And then when we got to the workplace, it was different. I had to adapt again because in university, I think looking back, it was easy. And I took a Mickey. I played volleyball most of the time, and I'll go and pass, and really didn't get to work very hard. I wasn't used to working as hard as you do when you get to the workplace. It's different. When you are a researcher, when you work in research, you have to do a lot more. You have to read more, talk to lots of people, do lots of things. Yeah, we did read in uni, but it's not the same. So you start to manage yourself there, understand how the job works, how the job market works. And I think we were lucky because most of us who graduated at that time, they didn't know what they studied, but we were applying what we studied in uni. So that was quite, I think, opportune. And when I came to this country, because I thought it would be easier. Anyway, the other thing that forced me to come here is my wife is from the west of Africa. I am from Southern Africa. And somehow there is that element of xenophobia in Southern Africa. So she wasn't feeling a lot more welcome at the time. So we say, okay, let's go and try a different location, a neutral location. She had lived here anyway before, so she held a British citizenship. So I came here, I used that opportunity, come here, thinking, okay, it will be easy here, but it wasn't. Then again, in the previous question, I told you I had to adapt. It was not easy. I had to look for the skill set that I had. So let's never underestimate the skills that you build throughout our careers. Because even though I wasn't doing an economics or statistics job, I had to come up with the analytical skills that I had built throughout the search in the Central Bank of Lesotho and apply them at the National Audit Office. So fast forward 4 years down the line, I was at a business school with someone who had worked at the Department for Education. And when I was struggling to get a job, again after that, after my MBA, I reached out to him. So it's networking, networks, always our networks. We need to build them, tap into them, and that's how you get through. So he said to me, okay, do you know Excel? I say, yeah, I know Excel. He said, come and see me. I went and he gave me a problem, a spreadsheet. And I said, this is what you do with the spreadsheet. This is what you do. And he said, okay, we start on such a day. So I went to work. Whereas when I was applying, I wasn't even getting responses, or where I went, I wasn't successful at the interview. But in this case, knowing someone, he gave me that, and he gave me the opportunity. He trusted that I can do the job because I had shown him. And again, you find that most of the time, the interviews are unrelated to the work that you do. But in this case, I went there, what I was going to do at the job, and I showed him I can do this. And again, when I got there, I realized there were different skills that were needed. So one was in modeling and forecasting, which was something they were not, they didn't really have skills at the time. They had a model which was doing that, profiling spend over schools which we are building as the Department for Education. I learned this model, and in no time I understood how it works. And then I took that as my area, and it became something I had to teach others who were coming in. And I think they built a team over me through that. And I managed to specialize in that. I saw that as an opportunity again to cement my importance there. Even though I started as a contractor initially, then I converted that into what do you call it now, a full-time job, and then started building the team. So I now became a step into management, what I had learned over time, including at the business schools, in the metrics, analytics, and all of that stuff, which is more or less what I do now. So my colleagues are mostly into building systems and doing stuff, fancy stuff. I use the data that comes out of those systems to sort of forecast and come up with where we are going. So make evidence-based decisions. All right.
I want to stay with that same question as well, please.
Thank you so much. So I think the story of the last speaker is peculiar to my own story. I know at the beginning when I said I'm not really techie from technical background, it confused some people. So in the tech, like Dion mentioned, tech is very, very varied. There's so many things in technology. My own area, I've been interested through what we call GRC, governance, risk, and compliance. And so my journey was through what we call project-based learning. So because I didn't have the technical skills to penetrate, I had to buy a course that's called project-based learning. In other words, it's like volunteering. I'm being paid to learn, to get the practical. But when you go to interview, the first thing that will hit you is you don't have practical experience. Well, how are you going to get practical experience when you're not giving me the job? So it's very, very challenging. So there's a guy, I'm going to mention his name here. Some of you here might know him. His name is Gage Giwa. He used to be in the UK here. He has now moved to Nigeria. He created a platform called Career Insight. So what we do is in the evening and after work, we create projects. There's nothing I did not learn in that platform. I learned project management, business analysis. And then when the GDPR came, that was what opened the way for me. Now, during that training section, we'll be handling projects as in in fact, it was actually working for him for nothing because he will create a project and we will fulfill it. We use what we call GoToMeeting or GoToWebinar, what is called before COVID came and everybody started using Teams and Zoom. And now one of that thing I did is also mentoring. If I give you my bank statement and you see what I spend in personal development, you think I'm a billionaire. I invest a lot of myself, even paid. And there's a testimony when you invest, not just when you are getting it free. Fine, it's good to network, but I made an investment of mentoring of £1,200, and my income increased, doubled within a month of finishing the mentoring program. So one of the things I did is I'm based in London here, and when I was looking for this job, NHS everywhere, it didn't happen. And I said, anywhere this job comes in UK, I'm gonna go. Anywhere this job comes. So, and I got a job in NHS Doncaster. I drove for 4 hours. And I went there, parked the car, and then Toby also came, and the manager said, okay, since your family is back home, leave the car here, you can be coming like 2 times in the week and all that. And that was how, although it was a 6-month contract, but I have broken that barrier of everything to privacy, and then got the experience of how do you carry out this governance risk assessment. Fine, the tech guy, John and Co, you do all you do in tech, we're not there, but we have to govern what we are doing. If we are reviewing payment card industry, when you say change your password every 3 months, treat your password like pint, I understand all those your terms, but we're the one that will check whether what you have built is actually, as you said, whether it is working. Then because tire, you know, when you drive a car, there is this tire you put in the car. If you remove the nut used to cover it, then the control is gone. So if there is no control to all the tech that's been designed, it's not going to work. And this is what management has been saying, that we are not generating revenue, that we are expense, but I've been able to challenge them that, look, we are revenue generator, because if you are hit with GDPR fine, it's up to 70 million pounds. So is that not a revenue? So are we not saving you from potential fines? So I'll have stopped there. Thank you.
There is one thing that I kind of want to mention based on what's been saying, is that one of the things I have got at home is a pile of notebooks where I've kind of designed systems that I would like to create, but just haven't got the time to do them now. So that's one of the things I would do, you know, once I retire, start working through those notebooks. But you know, for people who are trying to get into the industry, one of the things I would, you know, seriously recommend is that you to get practical experience is to, you know, go to AWS, the Amazon Web Services. You set up an account. Think of a project that would benefit your community or the country or, you know, your borough, whatever it is, and build that system. You've got systems like GitHub, where you can put your projects out there on the internet, and prospective companies could then look at what you've done. The code is all there for them to look at and analyze. So yeah, that's one of the first thing I would say. Get out there, write stuff, create a portfolio of applications that you've written, and you know, kind of use that as well as getting kind of qualified.
Touching base with you, David, were there any mentors or role models that were enabling you to even think of starting with your role in tech?
Was it?
Any like mentors, role models when you were beginning your career?
Yeah, yes, definitely. I mean, the first person that gave me my first programming job, and I was the job title was analyst programmer. Back then, that basically meant you did everything. You talked to the business, you worked out what they wanted, you then sit there, designed it, and then you write the code, test it, and then support it. So you did the whole shebang. Was a guy called Nick Hackney. I worked when I left. I started off in the civil service, and when I had a move within the civil service to the finance department, that's where I came into contact with computers. Up to that point, you know, the only computers I saw was Star Trek, and so this was a real computer, and it seemed to click with me in all of its stuff. So I decided to kind of pursue, you know, to get into programming, because that's the kind of thing I thought is, you know, is what I wanted to do. But anyway, when I left civil service, I went to do PC support. I did that for a couple of years, and then all that time I was still, you know, programming and doing stuff with DBase 2 and DBase 3, and a guy called Nick Hackney, who used to work at Michelin Tire, he was the IT manager, interviewed me for a job there as analyst programmer, and hired me on the spot, basically. And that was that guy was the first person that actually kind of pushed me down the route that I wanted to go. And we stayed friends. I kind of left Michelin, went somewhere else, and then kept in contact, and then came back again to work with him on other projects in at Ford. Yeah, he was my main kind of role model in terms of work. He was there at the start of computing, where the computers were the size of this room. He used to work at Tetley, I think it was Tetley, who had the first kind of computer, and had lots of fun and jokes about how he used to come in and had to key in all the commands to boot up the computer, basically. So that was that, and then in the kind of development world, we had a number of people who were Clipper developers, and they used to have lots of conferences and user meetings. So I kind of used to follow them, and they kind of showed me different techniques for producing things. I mean, back then, Windows wasn't a thing as such, but to create a window with a nice drop shadow, we used to rave about being able to do that. That was, we didn't have all this nice fancy screens as we do now. So yeah, that was it in me and this Clipper user group.
Perfect, thank you very much. Do you want the same question? Any mentors, role models before you entered your career tech?
At the start of my career, no. I didn't even know there was other Black people in tech. And that's because I worked in teams where I was literally the only one, only female, only Black person. I'd say maybe 2017 was a pivotal moment where I realised that you don't even need an official mentor. I started attending tech community events probably 2014. It was Tech Makers community that's run by Google Free. And they introduced us to Android development. So I knew this event was coming, and I didn't have a laptop at the time. My own laptop anyway, I had a work one. So I went out and bought a laptop so that I could attend this session. And they had their employees there, to help us, encourage us and everything. And then at the end of the event, they gave us a free Android Wear watch to encourage us to kind of carry on. So I knew I wanted to get into mobile development, but I didn't have a decent phone. So I was trying to like weigh up what's the easiest or lower barrier entry into mobile development. So I looked at iOS and I saw the prices of phone and laptop. I was like, not going there. So Android seemed to be the way to go, because I'd already been learning Java. I naively thought it was an easy transition into. At that time, networking, and I got involved in a community called UK Black Tech. And at the launch party, there was somebody there who was a senior Android developer. And one of my friends just mentioned to her, oh, Dion's interested in mobile. And she just started speaking life into me in that event about how to go about it, where to start. There's not that many Black women in mobile development, and maybe you should invest your time into it. So it took a few years, but I think maybe 3 years later, I literally just mentioned it to my boss one time. I was like, I really want to get into mobile, and I've heard that you're spinning up this new in-house team that's going to develop this app, and I'd love to get involved. I don't know mobile, but I'll learn. I'll do what I need to do to get in there. So because of that lady at that event, just having that brief conversation, she basically changed my life. Little does she know that I to this day I see her as like a mentor, but never like cemented that relationship, as it were. And then moving into leadership is when I guess I took it a bit more seriously. So I managed to get an opportunity to get a place on the Mayor of London's Our Time Future Leaders programme, where they match you with somebody in a similar industry to help you develop your career. Now, although I put myself forward for this programme, at the time I had absolutely no intention of moving into a leadership role because I love to code every day. And as I told you before, it took me that long for people to take me seriously as a developer. I was going to be a developer for life. But this guy had other ideas. So I was matched with this guy called Jim. He was director of IT services at London Legacy Development Corp. A former developer himself, and he wanted to give back and specifically wanted to support Black women to get into leadership. And when we met, we just clicked straight away. But it took this guy 12 months to convince me that becoming a leader is what I needed to be officially. But then also to make me realise that I was actually already a leader, and I just didn't realise it. From a lot of the things that I was doing outside my day job, getting involved with tech communities and mentoring a lot of people. Advocating for injustices at work, like all these unintentional leadership skills that I was building that I just didn't recognise. And then I remember him sitting down and making me do an audit of things that I've done, and also look for leadership roles begrudgingly because I just didn't want to go there. And he was coming up with, oh yeah, you should apply for this head of digital transformation, head of this, head of that. And I was like, that's not me, man. I just want to code. And then, but it's like the reason why he was pushing me to do it is because even at my senior developer level, I'm mentoring, I'm speaking up about the lack of women in tech. And it's like, you can't do that at the level you are and expect to get changed. Like, you need to be at a higher level to have that influence. And he took time, maybe like every 2 weeks we were meeting up in person, and he's just kind of speaking through his experiences of leadership and how to deal with different challenges. So as I was trying to get that experience in my own organisation, he's helping me navigate through and how to deal with things. And if it wasn't for him, I would never be in a leadership role, for sure. So I'm glad that I opened my mind to at least saying yes to the opportunity of getting on the programme, even though I didn't know that that's what I wanted.
I don't really know where to start. When I was in school, I would say there was few role models, people working in telecommunication in general and the networking as well. So there was few, but they're always very busy. And to me, it looked like, oh yeah, they're very busy. That means they're very important people. So I have to learn something about networking. Also, I experimented like few things. So I wanted initially to be a linguist, or just learning like different languages and so on. Later on, I realized to make a living out of that, it might be best, it might be very hard. So I decided to keep that just as a hobby. Networking, I did a course on something called Cisco, and then I bought all the books. And then I was going through the books and highlighting, literally reading page by page. Then I remember I was in a public place and somebody saw me reading the book and they were interested. They said, oh, you're reading this book. And it turns out they work as a network engineer. And then they looked at the book and they were shocked. They were like, how are you reading this book? It's a 300 pages book. And I said, what do you mean? He said, you're not supposed to read it like this. You have to go by chapters and just look, what topic you're looking for or something like that. So he taught me that, and I was like, oh, okay. So I don't have to go like, every single page and memorize everything. So that was really good to learn early on. And then I went on and I did some of the certifications on Cisco. My first certificate arrived from America, and I remember my mom was super happy. Everybody's happy. And later on, basically, I realized how networking is changing, because I made loads of friends. I saw people who already have like 10 years of experience, and they said, oh, things are changing to cloud or something like that. I was like, oh, that means maybe this job is at risk. So I had to change again. And then that's hence why going to university, I changed the whole thing to computer science, because I knew, okay, I can't go wrong with this one. It's computer science, so they're going to teach me everything. Well, turns out, if university is just theory, but I didn't know about that. Mentorship actually is interesting, because I made my own like mentors. So if I find someone who have the skills I'm looking for, or I can see that I want to do what they're doing, then I will start to try to make them to like me. It sounds weird. So I see what their interest, for example. And I remember there was this person graduated from Cambridge, super intelligent, worked on some very interesting systems. And then I noticed he goes, what is it called, boundary wall climbing with his girlfriend. And he mentioned a couple of times, and he had a website for it. He's going out. I said, okay, I can join you. So join you sometime, And I didn't know anything about it. It was interesting. The first session, all my muscles are sore, and and then I learned about that. And then it's a community, and then you get to know people and so on. So I worked closely with that person, and I learned a lot of things from him, because graduating from university, you would think, oh, I've learned this and that. I can do Python, I can do Java, but in the real world, it's completely different. I was getting data from a website called Kaggle. So if anybody is studying, Kaggle is great to get data sets. The data sets you get out of Kaggle, perfect for studying, because they're already refined and cleaned and nice. But the real world data is complete mess. So that's where I was like, oh, wow, how to deal with this. And luckily, I was working with two directors. They were really good people. They sent me on a specific course for Python, 2 weeks, and exactly like what they needed. And I think it was like, either you make it or not, you don't learn that in 2 weeks. So I had to learn in 2 weeks, pandas, all these things. And I was, okay, I think I can do this, because the good thing is they give you like steps. They give you first like the simple ones to do, and then it gets harder down the line. And I found out, yeah, I can do this. And then I came back after the 2 weeks, and they started giving me some small tasks. I was able to do it. And then after a month, I remember there was outsourced, something was outsourced to somebody, and they couldn't do it for 3 months. Either they're too busy or they don't want to do it, I don't know. And the director brought it up in one of the meetings, and I was like, oh, I can do it. He was like, are you sure? I said, yeah, I have an attempt on that. And it was a front end, and I never touched front end. I didn't know anything about front end. And back then there was no ChatGPT. It's just Stack Overflow and things like that. So I used all the skills I already have with Python, and I tried to understand the problem they're trying to resolve and broke it down into similar steps, and managed to do the first one. And I was like, okay, yeah, and then now I can get through and go back to them and get some feedback and so on. Anyway, long story short, I managed to fully automate that work, and they would get an email every morning about the report they're looking for, and they couldn't believe them, like the results. And every time it was like, oh, that puts a smile on my face every morning. I was like, okay, now my job is secure. So that was funny. And from that, you always learn something new, and then you pick up something new, and then it gives you the courage and makes you more, how to put it, not scared of starting something new or trying something new. Recently, I'm approaching people to be mentors, because I believe sometimes, you could have more than one mentor as well. You don't have to, you could have definitely more than one mentor. Some people will be super busy, but as long as you being very polite and nice in your communication, they will definitely come back to you. So that's the thing. So if you contact somebody, send a message on LinkedIn or whatever, and they never replied for a week, don't get frustrated, because you don't know at the other end, what their life is like. But when they see that patience, they would say, okay, this person probably deserves a chance. Investing in yourself is very important, because if you don't invest in yourself, whether that's like doing some courses, going on events, it's not easy going on events. You have to encourage yourself. Sometimes you're going alone, sometimes you're going with people, and then get out of that comfort zone, meeting new people and talking to them and so on. But once you do it a few times, it becomes second nature, and then you master that. So this is real key to succeed in your career. And the last thing, volunteering. I'm big on volunteering. Some people is their cup of tea, but I think it's a great way because it's very informal. You get to know the people, you go through some challenges and so on, as Alfred might know. And then that's basically creates a strong bond with people, which is great to have. Thank you.
I have a last question for all of the panelists before we head over to Q&A. So, as you know, the next generation of tech leadership, what do you think, or how can we prepare ourselves in order to embrace change, in order so that we can be better within the tech space? So essentially, how can we prepare the next generation of tech leaders to be both resilient and inclusive?
Interesting. I'm listening to a friend here and I'm getting inspired, because I think how he approaches things, he doesn't take himself seriously. He is not afraid to make himself vulnerable. That is, he gets out of his way, he meets new people, and that way he builds his networks. He builds his networks and he gets to get what he wants, because that way they empower him. He grows through that process. And to me, I see that as a very good example of someone who will be a leader someday, because he is not afraid to go ask for help when he needs help, or meet new people, make new friends, make new networks. Sure. Apologies for that. Thank you. Allow me to do this. Otherwise, it's going to. I apologize for that. So what we are asking here is, how do we go and adapt again for the future? Because the future is already here, and we are in the age of the AI now. And we can't always stick to the skills or the experience that we used to have before. It's more of adapting to what is here now. So if you haven't started investing in AI, learning what AI is about and anything that goes in there, then I think you should start, because that is the future. The future is already here. But with regards to being inclusive, being a leader, is more of understanding the soft skills which you already have, or if you don't think you have them, you go out and build them. And most of that is about people skills. It's about knowing how to work with other people. It's knowing how to make us different from machines, because I think that's what will distinguish us from machines in the future, is being able to know that what diversity is and what inclusion is in that case. Being able to include everyone in your plans if you are a leader. Because I have seen many leadership styles everywhere, and I can say most of them, they leave a lot to be desired. We wouldn't be here if we had people who cared about everyone else. It's always more about competition than about, can everyone benefit? Can majority of people benefit? Can I maximize the benefit here so that all of these people here benefit. So I think my advice, if I were to advise the future leaders, is think about Ubuntu. That is where I come from. We say, I am because we are. I am because you are. Motu ke motu kabatu. That is, a person is only a person because of other people. So this is where we come from as Africans. We come from a setting where we are community focused. And you excel as an individual within that community. You become better because of your community. You don't get ahead of your community and leave them behind. No, that's not how it works. Right? So I think as things develop now, well, it's good to get more money, but think about what about your family? And again, Africans are like, it's going to be hard because we are family-oriented people. We have big families. We have a community. It's the way it is, unless you're going to be out of that loop, out of that family. But to me, that is the leadership I see. That is how I see us getting ahead. And when we are all here, if you know that there's something I can help you with, don't hesitate. It's the same. I've already seen them, and I hope in future there will be something that I can either offer them or they can offer me or my children. That is as simple as that. Technology is there to enable us, not be the end of it. Let me stop there. Thank you.
Same question, great. To be honest, I would be a little bit biased because I'm building the AI products myself. I would say this very common phrase, you might heard it already. AI will not take everybody's jobs, or someone else using AI might take your job. So the best thing you do is try to learn AI. It doesn't matter if you are not in the tech field even, you still have to learn maybe low code or some of the products out there to automate some of your admin work and stuff like that, because that's the future. It's going to be, things are done faster, more efficient, and that's going to be the expectation. So no matter what you do, to be competitive, you have to have some grasp of that. If not, and if you're running company, for example, you have to hire someone who will do that for you. So either way, there's no escape from it. The AI, I feel like probably, as you mentioned, the future is already here. So it will create some injustices, unfortunately. We have to be honest. We can't lie about that. In whether that's, somebody's using some super machine in pharmaceutical or they're using it in financial, whatever decisions, that will happen. History will repeat itself. But being aware of it will help you to stand your ground. So for example, somebody had an application rejected and 100% it shouldn't be rejected. It could be automated by an AI, so you can push back. Just having the knowledge would definitely help. That's going to be more and more in the future, unfortunately, because that's the way things are going. On the positive side, it's not all dooms and glooms. So most schools are teaching children now. They're teaching them in school. So the next generation basically will have a lot more better than all of us. Like they will learn all these things, like, from school. They'll be capable and they will carry on. They already use the mobile phones and everything else, and quite good at it. So I think it's good. It will create a lot more jobs, but only for those who prepare for it. So prepare yourself and be ready for it. Thank you.
My view on AI from a software development point of view is a bit mixed. So at the moment, I'm managing senior developers, mid-level, and people starting their career. And for the seniors, there's a mix of feelings and views around, well, a lot of people are scared, to be fair. Oh yeah, now the AI is developing code, so like what is the actual point of me continuing? And a lot of people are resisting even trying. But thankfully my organisation is actually investing a lot of money and time in actually offering the tool. So for example, Copilot. We're not forcing it on people. We are bringing in experts from our third-party provider, and being honest to the fact that we're not experts, you know, we're learning, so why not partner with our providers who are further ahead than we are. But we're kind of giving people time and space to experiment with the tools, and then regularly asking for feedback of how they found it and what sort of use cases they're applying it to. So we're all learning from each other as well, which is brilliant. However, at the early career stage, so I've just had a group of 12 individuals join the organisation 3 weeks ago. And there's all this talk about AI, and we've basically banned the use of AI tools for the first couple of months, because if you've just joined a software development apprenticeship, I beg you, learn how to code before you start using these tools. That it don't make no sense to me. We're still going to be on the program for the next 2 years, and you so basically coming to be an AI consumer and copy and paster of code that you don't know whether works or doesn't properly. Like that doesn't make any sense to me. So we've banned it. We're doing an internal coding boot camp for the first 8 weeks of their journey, and so we're teaching them, just giving them a taste of the different technologies that they may come across when they land in the teams. So we're teaching them HTML, CSS, JavaScript, introduction to C#, which is majority of the software and applications that we develop is based on. Git as your DevOps, SQL databases, but just without the tools, understand the foundations of it first, and then in a couple of months' time, we'll give you the license and you can use it to your heart's content. And it's a touchy subject. I went to a conference last week, and there was a conversation around vibe coding. And again, I have mixed feelings about this. I think it's great for people who have no technical kind of backgrounds and find an easy way to build things that the ideas that they come from. I think it's good for like proof of concepts and minimum viable products. But again, I still believe that we should be learning the foundations of these things and not trusting what the AI tools are creating. I've heard some disasters of companies using the tools and therefore bypassing doing any technology because the AI must be like the god of everything. And it's ending in production, and then errors are appearing and nobody can understand why. Well, it's because you've handed over total control to these tools. I just don't agree with it. So I'm hoping our organisation will continue that, encouraging people to explore. Let's learn from each other around the use cases, giving people that space. At some point, we're going to have to work out who has the accountability when things go wrong. But if we're kind of on that journey together, then I think it makes it better. From a leadership point of view, the technical skills are important, but like you said, the soft skills are just as important. And for me, the leadership, the communication side of things, empathy side of things, just as important as helping people to develop their careers and wanting to incorporate these AI tools into their way of working. Thank you.
Yes, interesting area. I kind of echo everything that Mother says. AI is great, but it's like you need to learn the basics. So any programming language, understand how the structures work. AI generates a lot of code, and if you look at it and you don't understand how that works, you're lost basically. So you definitely need to learn the basics. In terms of managers or leaders in the future, one of the things that you hear is that looking back at the past helps kind of focus what we need to be doing in the future. So where there's kind of disasters in terms of management, to look at that situation, understand why it happened, and then take that on board, so it doesn't happen going forward. So all the people who are coming into management roles, they really need to understand how there's kind of interactions between various groups of people, and be able to kind of spot issues potentially arising. And also the soft skills in actually talk to people, trying and not to be the boss with the iron fist, but to kind of talk to people like human beings. I mean, that's what we are. So the soft skills are very important, and possibly taking a step back and looking at situations differently. It's quite easy to fly off the handle quite quickly. I know a few. I had a manager once who was she was quite a person that if you kind of approach her in the wrong way, she'll take you off. So one of the things is take a deep breath, then look at the situation, and don't fly in, with all guns blazing.
A better position to do where I'm sitting strategically. You've all said what I wanted to say. So remind me the topic again we're discussing. I know it's not AI.
So how can we prepare ourselves for the next generation to be both resilient and inclusive?
Okay, that's a very powerful question you posed there. So I think we've all touched a little bit on this during the main presentation. So personally, is personal development, continuous learning, continuous improvement. I have a mentor one time who said, work harder on yourself than you work on your job. Now, that is a very broad statement. What he's saying is, you don't just work and work 12 hours for your shift, but you're not investing even 10% to your personal development, because money follows value. People are hiring people who can give them value, not just that you have tech skill, you have AI skill, but are you bringing value? So if you are bringing value, don't even bother. Money, they will look for you. In this room, I have an AI guru, which I'm going to introduce to you later. I know you know, but there's an AI guru here, which is very close to me. He can tell you more if you want it in AI. I know there are others here, but he will tell you more about what we're saying. He was in this country, he did 2 masters within 2 years. So that is value. So then the other thing is also where I work, when I used to work in government, there are many ways you can penetrate into the tech environment. The government have so many skills. There's what they call fast stream, but I think they paused it now. You may have heard it. I think they paused it now due to course everywhere is tightening. People are trying to save.
It's still happening.
It's still happening.
Yeah, it went live last week. So actually,
Okay, so it is resurrected before I left the government. Fast stream is like, as the name goes, fast stream. If you're coming in from a fresh, you're a fresh graduate, you get into the fast stream. Within 3 years, you become a senior manager. And when you come, it's like an organization, you work into different departments, you work in IT, you work in compliance, you work in, then they are building you, preparing your head within 3 years. Yes, you know, they have somebody, I know very well that is gone through that. The other thing is also, in this country, many companies offer what we call apprenticeship. So go to the organization website, follow to many government departments, many banks, they have apprenticeship. There are people who already entered their career even before graduating. They already know where they are going. And this is the best skill. It doesn't matter what you are studying, whether you're studying mathematics or economics, they will groom you to fit into any way you want to move on in life. The other thing I also want to say again is, I'll mention it is mentoring. Be ready to invest in mentoring. There are many free ones in LinkedIn. I have so many mentors in LinkedIn. There are people who are giving me insight. Even though I'm in governance, risk and compliance, I do so many things. I've done so many certification. I was going to say certification is one of the things. Certification does not give you the job, but certification will push you to, okay, you say you can drive a car. Where is your license? Fine, you can drive the car, you can code, you can do AI, but what certification do you have? What logo are you carrying in LinkedIn? People get job through their LinkedIn profile. They search for one code. Oh, I've done ISO 27001. I've done SISTA. I've done CISP. I've done CIPP and all that. So in my own journey, certification was what also helped me. It doesn't mean I know everything in data protection, but certification is to show you also what I've invested time and money to be able to grow in the field, because in the global world. I think I'll stop the rest of time.
I just want to open the floor for anyone who has any questions.
First of all, I just want to say like a big thanks to everybody on the panel. It's my second Black History Month event this month, and just a wealth of experiences has really kind of empowered me in terms of what I'm going to take away from this evening. My question is around growth mindset. When you are, particularly for the technical members on the stage, when you are, I guess, in the midst of a technical project, how do you stay motivated when you hit roadblocks? So yeah, that's my question.
Donuts. Donuts and a complete break. I think yeah, I tend to late nights, so I do 9 in the evening till 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning sometimes. And I've had a couple of those this week. So yeah, it is. I think everyone will have some way of kind of releasing the kind of pressure in the brain. So trying to identify that and kind of use it when you do get a roadblock. And drawing pictures is the other thing. I like to draw pictures, lots of diagrams about things, about the situation, the system. I've got a stack of notebooks. I've now got electronic books. I don't have those more books anymore. But yeah, scribble, and something will come to light.
I've been in that situation many times, especially when or the more recent situation when I was a senior Android developer at CFLGO. I could say that app was built on prayer. When you get to a point, and I think what you say about having a growth mindset, I think the beginning of that, I was very fixed mindset and very stubborn. And I don't know if it's because I was like the only female in the team of developers, and therefore I will struggle and work this thing out before I ask anybody in my team, because I don't want to show weakness. Yeah, I will search the internet before I ask any of my colleagues how to work something out. But after a while of kind of doing that consistently, and it's really draining. I kind of realized that I just needed to humble myself and actually realised that asking for help is not weakness. And I just feel that sometimes you just need, a lot of times we're just in our own way. And when I started, I guess, networking outside of my organisation and meeting other people in similar roles to me, and having that kind of support network outside where it's a safer space, I guess, to ask questions and get answers to kind of then bring back into your organisation. But yeah, after a few years of kind of doing that, I just kind of realised maybe I'd be more productive and achieve more if I just humble myself, admit when I'm struggling. And to my surprise, my colleagues were very, very supportive. A lot of developers don't like to pair program. I'm still trying to get my head around why that is, because I've had experience of both, where me just being stubborn, wanting to work on a feature and get it done and get the praise, I guess. And then other situations where one of my colleagues been open to pair programs and we've actually achieved a lot faster. Worked through issues together. Those blind spots where you think you tried everything, but another pair of eyes will help to kind of figure that out. But yeah, kind of doing that more definitely helps you stay motivated. But yeah, if you get to a point where you're trying for many hours or even days, sometimes it's best literally just to give up for the night, sleep, have a fresh mind the next day, and for some reason the idea or the answer appears. And worst case scenario, just go to the Lord, pray. The answer miraculously appears. Go was definitely built on prayer, or the Android version anyway.
Yeah, I would say similar to what Joan said. These kind of situations must happen for your growth. So if you're getting roadblocks or you feel like you're stuck, that's more crucial than all the time when you're happy and succeeding, because this is where you will grow and learn how to resolve things and how to deal with it. So taking a step back, obviously, like my colleagues here said, is important. Trying to communicate with the team, because most of the time you're working with the team. So communicate with the team. It doesn't necessarily to give you an answer, but it will relieve the pressure. And then the expectations also. So if they have a deadline for that or whatever, they won't be chasing you for that. And the other thing is, once you resolved it, make sure you document it for two reasons. One reason is somebody else other than yourself, if they get in this situation, most teams have wikis and stuff, they can go back to it. The other thing is for yourself, because it's funny, like we humans sometimes we come through certain problem, but we forget quickly, and then you come across again. So if you had your own notebook, or you had like a place where you documented all these, and then now with the AI, you can easily search through them again, and then, oh, okay, I remember this is that, and then after a couple of times, you don't need it anymore. So I would say that, and also if you're really interested in what you're doing, try to change the way you learn things as well. So learn from newsletters, subscribe to, if you're already a BCS member, it's a great place to learn things as well. They send you magazines and things about technology and so on. Sometimes also I found very interesting and good reading completely different topic. And I'll tell you a quick story so I don't take so much time. So I noticed that I'm always like reading technical books and doing exams, getting certificates. Okay, so I get a job, blah, blah, blah. And then listening to other people in leadership. And then I noticed they know so much. And I was like, oh, how do they know about psychology? They know about this, they know about that. So obviously they're reading more or listening to audiobooks and so on. So I started doing that, and it came in very handy in one of my interviews with top consultancy companies. The interviewee was a PhD in philosophy. So I saw her profile. I was like, oh my God, okay, I'm going to be stuck now. I don't know what questions I would be asked. And it was quite interesting. We had just very casual conversation. And then at the end, the question was, she read recently about some sharks or something in the ocean. They communicate and the whole story. And then at the end she said, "Can you give me like something you have read recently?" And guess what? I read something very similar on trees and how trees are really connected across the world. If you chop trees somewhere here and in Australia and all that. So I mentioned that and she loved it. And then just 1 hour after the call, I got the offer, but I didn't go for it. So broadening your horizon and reading outside of your field is very, very important if you're aiming to grow. And I think you are in this room, so you're doing very well. Thank you.
Are there any other questions?
Yeah. Just the one. So, having listened to the success stories of the panelists, it's been years I've not been able to get a desired job. I've obtained a few certificates in the UK. Do I need to get a degree in a university in the UK before getting a desired role? Just before I hand back over to you. So the person who asked that question, I will say, the civil service has a number of development and talent schemes in digital and data. You may want to look up DDAT, DDAT. You may want to look up the Government Communication Service and the Civil Service Fast Stream. Those have all opened recently. They've got a number of apprenticeship schemes as well, and those are available to anyone, whether you have a degree or not. And it also doesn't matter if you've already got some experience, it's based on merit alone. And so those are opportunities you may want to look into.
I think. Okay. The person online, I think we've touched most of the things you asked, because you don't need another degree to get where you need to go. What we said is continuous learning and personal development. Like David gave an example of how you can build, showcase what you're doing, put it in GitHub. The AI guy I mentioned there uses GitHub. He was one that taught me how to use GitHub. Show what you can do first. You can even present it in an interview. If you have built something in GitHub, you can present it to them, you can put it in your LinkedIn. This is what I have designed, this is what I have done. It's not that I'm only looking to get hands-on practical experience paid. And then the organizer has also mentioned, I'm going to share some links with you. There are many areas you can go to even get started with volunteer and free things you can get yourself to. Sorry, yeah.
The technical skills, the technical certifications are great, but you also need to focus on visibility. If you're not using LinkedIn, for example, to me, LinkedIn is an absolute goldmine that people just sleep on. When I look at certain people's profiles and I'm like, no photo, no nothing, no, we've done all the certifications, but nobody knows. It makes no sense to me. It's free. I know you have to pay for some of it, but the free version is good enough to help you attract opportunities to yourself if you would only be visible and vulnerable. So I'm always encouraging, I do tech career coaching outside of work, and I'm always encouraging people to document their journey. So while you're learning these new technologies, documenting that you're doing it, what you've learned about it, the successes that you had, but also the failures that you've had and how you've got around them. And being out there, like posting regularly, consistently, sharing your thoughts, your opinions, that makes you stand out. So one of my coaching clients, she was a high school teacher and wanted to be a software developer initially, then realised a lot of hidden previous experience and transferable skills that she had that she didn't think was relevant in the tech community. And she, before she became a client of mine, she'd been trying to get into tech for 2 years. And we uncovered that she had 9 years retail experience, but she didn't think that was relevant. And then when we started looking at roles, it was like, it opened her up to so many more roles. And then she realised she was interested in software development. She didn't actually want to do it, but she wanted to mix in her teaching qualifications. When we found a role, which was a solution architect, she actually attracted her dream job to her based on actually putting your experience, your skills, documenting your journey, being vulnerable, being consistent, and managed to get a full-time job as a solution architect, increased her salary by 50k, which changed her family's life. So visibility is just as important as the technical skills that you're trying to get. So.
Thank you very much. We're just going to call in for time because I want to make sure that everyone has sufficient networking time. So thank you very much for attending. I just want to make.
Can I ask one question?
I thought.
Sorry. This question is for our moderator. We're aware that you're a recent graduate, and I know that you're very active on LinkedIn. Can you tell us about the benefits that you have received through engaging with people through LinkedIn and networking for those who are nervous about embarking on networking themselves?
Cheers. Thank you very much for that question. So I've been doing this since university, but at the end of it, so more end of first year, and I've been continuing since. And then I gained my internship in Museum Bakings right around the pod. Did BC for about 6 months, learning literally from the ground up how everything works in terms of visibility, in terms of how to engage with members of the public, the community, even up to C-suite and above. And through the visibility that I got through LinkedIn, oh my gosh.
This is your time. Tell us. We want to know.
So the first ever sort of engagement that I did was I got invited to Black Hat Europe, which is the biggest cybersecurity conference within the world of cybersecurity. And it was the tickets was 1.5k. And I don't know. And how I got through that, shout out to Joseph Wheat, he's now at OpenAI. He was a cybersecurity engineer at Airbnb. I got through his boss, and then his boss sponsored me a ticket for that 2-day pass. And then I was enjoying life. I was working with everybody. I got to chat. I had free lunch. Free lunch was good. Free lunch was good. And ever since then, I was like, I can enjoy this life. So, but it wasn't about me at the end of the day. So I always try and continue to give back. So through volunteers such as this, I can try and give everyone like an open door to whatever field that you're in. Chat with a panelist, network. And again, through meeting some beautiful people, great people such as Chelsea, I was able to go to DigiGov conference recently, about 2-3 weeks ago. Again, that was only for public sector workers. I ain't a public sector worker. I was networking for everyone, but to cut to the chase, I'm trying to make sure that it's not only me that is gaining it has to be everyone through the community. I'm from Edmonton. Edmonton's rough. Growing up, Elwood Academy, going through the GCSE period when COVID was here. Oh my gosh, I didn't know if I was going to even do it or not. And then going through sixth form, same thing. That was the best 2 years of my life. I loved it. I did a BTEC in IT, helping, let's say, people from giving it Tottenham, it was rough. Make sure that they were able to pass, and they were passed above me. They got distinction stars, and I got distinction. I was happy for them. So all moving together. So yeah, I'll end off with that. But yeah, visibility is key on what LinkedIn, and that's how you're able to get opportunities, and making sure that you leverage everything and then share it above.
Oh, thank you. Hi, everyone. I'm Tawa. I just wanted to start by saying thank you to the speakers. Thank you. Your stories have been very, very insightful. I love stories. I love to tell a lot of stories. So when you were talking about the stories, I was like, oh,
this shouldn't end, this shouldn't end, because I wanted to hear more and more of your stories. Talking about stories and experiences, my question is, what were the things you wish you did better to prepare you for leadership? And taking from those experiences, how do you think that those that aspire to leadership can start to prepare for it?
Do I? Okay, so the question is, what did we do to?
What do you wish? What were the things you wish you did
I
better?
did. So it is a very interesting question you posed there. So just like John mentioned, some of the mistake myself made at the beginning, even back in Africa, is chasing certification and then not embracing mentoring. Because the best way to get to where you want to go is to look for somebody who has been where you want to go. All these business leaders you're seeing, CEOs, they all have mentors. There's no way they could have gotten where they are without. So the question is how to identify them. Like I mentioned, I not only get free mentors, I get paid ones, even as I'm speaking today. I have mentors in every aspect of my life. I have a marriage mentor, I have a financial mentor, and I have a career mentor. So these are what I thought I should have known even before coming to the UK. And because of that, I didn't need to leave any country, to leave Nigeria. I mean, relocating to anywhere is not going to change where I am. It's mindset, like somebody mentioned yesterday. It's mindset, even your mindset about your career. Oh, that mindset, if you're looking for problems, you find it. Oh, I'm black. Oh, you have strong accents on this and that. You're going to get it. Bring values. What are you bringing to the table? No matter how dark or how your accent is valuing people they are looking for in leadership. And again, people talked about communication, soft skill. Soft skill here refers to communication. When people, organizations hire, they don't hire the best candidate, they hire the preferred candidate. When they are interviewing, they're looking at the composure. How do you communicate? Is this one going to fight people? It's not, you may be the distinction candidate, but from your interview with them, they'll be able to. These are the things I've heard. Somebody would have told me this is the right way to do it. I didn't need to have 3, 4, 5 degrees. I didn't need to have it. All I needed is to invest myself. Personal development is more important than even your degree. These days, people don't go to get computer science. You go to LinkedIn can teach you, but it's how you were able to go through this and show what you have, show your skills. I don't know if
Thank you. What we have to do, or what I should have done, is to identify where I wanted to go, and then develop those areas which I think were development areas. But as he rightly said, talking to people, finding the mentors, people who had already done that, who had already walked that path, is important, because then you become sort of an apprentice that way, and you learn faster. Thank you.
Okay, yeah, quick one. I would say what I would have done if times go back is basically not just focusing on your own success. And the reason for that, I remember recently I was networking in one of the events, and there was so many KPMG partners. Partner is basically the highest, maybe their CEO, I don't know, but partners are the highest level in the company. And somebody mentioned that they went on a company event somewhere abroad, and they felt a little bit, how to put it, distinguished, or maybe there's not many people look like them. So what I'm thinking is, for my future, I don't want to be in that situation. So if you are developing your career and going and doing all these things, which is great, but at the same time, if you can lift the people you know, whether that's the community, your friends, someone reach out online and so on, just being kind, sometimes you don't have to offer anything. It would help massively make the whole industry much better. The other thing is I don't know about the mistakes. I think I would make them all again because it's part of the journey. Like you have to make mistakes. There's no, if somebody says you're not going to make mistakes, I don't think that would be true. So yeah, if you realize that you've made a mistake, don't get stuck in that. Just change straight away and then look for something else or try something new. That's the only things I would say. But I'm learning from people here a lot as well. So thank you.
What I would do differently. What you said about investing in yourself.
Yes.
I had such a closed mindset on that. Because I was a permanent employee, especially for a public sector organisation, I expected my employer to pay for and organise all my training, certifications, learning everything. I had this mindset for years, and it took, you'd asked for something like JavaScript I needed for an application that we're developing, and we put the request in. It took 18 months to get this course booked. By the time the course came around, the thing was undeveloped. And we needed ready to go out there. We did what we needed to do. It probably was a mess, but it worked. Put it out there. And this went on every time we needed a course going on. And then I guess it happened because I started networking, started going to tech communities outside, and I realised, hang on a minute, my career is literally going backwards because I won't even think about investing my own money into myself. So I started investing in technology, Android courses, leadership courses, business courses as well when I went to start my side hustle. And yeah, it just makes a total difference. But then it's also helped me raise my profile, giving me more skills, influence, and the other thing that I definitely would have done differently is
you need to unlock your right phone first.
Forward for roles. Another closed mindset was that I started my current organisation for 13 years as a senior developer because I naively thought that your manager would tell you when you're ready to be promoted. And so I coded away for 13 years. And then again, networking outside, talking to people about their experiences. And then you think, well, okay, well, I'm just a software developer, I ain't got any leadership skills. But put yourself forward regardless. And even if you don't get the role that you put yourself for, the learning opportunity of putting yourself through that campaign is so good. And I did that, but then I took it badly. And then I didn't do it again for another 3 years. But then when I've finally got my head around it and put myself forward for something, a campaign that was 7 stages. Why people are interviewing people for 7 stages? If you don't know that you want me, it was 7 stages. I learned so much from them 7 stages. And then I didn't get the job. I was like, but then it helped me for then the leadership role that I eventually got into. So.
First of all, thank you for sharing your experience, which is really inspiring for us. So during the earlier discussion session, all of you mentioned about AI and AI. So we are age of AI. And my question is, how should we prepare or invest our learning journey for AI? So do you have any kind of roadmap so that this is the way you learn to do AI, or just searching in a ChatGPT or Copilot or something else? So what you advise for us to investing on AI?
Okay, sure, I'll take that. Yeah, great question. If you want to learn AI, if you first, like Joanne mentioned early on, you need to have the foundation first. So if you already have the foundation, you know some basics, whatever language you can programming in, or you know how to do Git and so on, then you're in a very perfect situation. You can go on a website called deeplearning.ai. They offer free courses up to intermediate, I think. I do their courses as well because you can never stop learning. You always learn. These things are moving really fast. Like literally every week there's a new LLM model and does this and that. Now they're talking about agents and all that. So doing these courses, you will first hear the concepts, then you will digest it and then be able to understand what it is. Then you won't be as much scared or afraid of it. So these basic courses goes through the beginner level are really good because they will simplify things and explain every single detail and so on. And if there is something not clear, then leverage the AI itself. Go on, that's one of the great things of AI. So back in the days, you need to go find someone, it might be, difficult and so on. Now with ChatGPT, it does hallucinate, of course, we do know that, but hopefully you will be able to distinguish that. And the thing is, one of the AI experts mentioned, I really found it interesting. He said humans will develop very is it like sixth sense or something? They will develop something, they can spot the AI straight away. So we are new to it now. We can see, for example, deep fake video or something, and we're like, oh wow, it looks like realistic. But after a while, we will have that ability to find out straight away. So learning, deep learning, as I said, LinkedIn, if you have the subscription, they have a lot of courses on there. Udemy is great. These are all for building the foundation, let's say for 6 months, up to 12 months, depends how busy your life is. Then you can move on to something called Coursera, because Coursera have, like they will give you a bunch of courses and then all of them together will build into a IBM AI engineer or maybe something like that. So if you do that program, and it doesn't cost much, to be honest, some of these subscriptions cost of cup of coffee or something like that. So invest in yourself, do these steps, take it from the simplest things first, and then go from there. The other thing is people really underestimate, and I don't see many people leverage it, which is strange. On YouTube, there is hours and hours of courses from MIT and few other top universities. These go through like the basics of algorithms sometimes, mathematics and stuff like that. They're boring as hell. I watched them on 1.7 or 2 times speed, but they're very good. If you get the habit and to get used to watching these, then you're gonna become way ahead of majority of people. So that's all I would say. Thank you.
Quick question about
But there is time, what can I depend on mine? Because they won't be here.
But I just got a quick one, just give a mic as well. I can't even be loud enough. If you got enough time and enough money, if you want to spend on yourself, is it better to go to master degree or you want to just spend it on courses, short courses, and investing in yourself? Like some people are saying, if you get a master degree in computer science, whatever, spending money is better, or just short courses. We're already in a first stage of tech, so I got 3 years experience. So are we doing something is different from what we learned? Because I should be like doing network engineer, so I got a certificate CCNA as well. But we're doing an airport kind of like hardware.
Yeah, I mean,
So
you have the mic. What is that? Like, I think we touched on this. So degree, I mean, if I have the money, I will go to Harvard and do AI course, but they're not going to give me, I'm only going to buy them. So, but with free one, like the one you mentioned, I think what we're also going to do is compile list of some free AI courses and send to the organizer to share with you guys. But what you can do is, you don't need a degree, you don't need that kind of money to invest in masters and all that. What we call is personal development is the one you teach yourself. Like you say, in LinkedIn Learning, by the way, LinkedIn Learning is free for 1 month. I know it's £25, but if you don't want to pay every month, you can start with the free one. Before you've done it, you've done. That's what we mean by personal development. The one you train yourself, and then have a mentor who will direct you. Because if you invest so much in the university one, you're going to have time to go. You're going to leave your job to go and daily. But this is what you can do at home. If you are investing 30 minutes every day in any particular skill you want to learn, you get masters. But I hope there's no university here.
Just add short courses, yeah, but then use it to actually build something.
Yeah.
Yeah, just like short, you can get short course overload and learn, but like decide on something that you're passionate about to implement what you're learning, build something, and then be visible about what you're doing, sharing that journey. You're learning something, the mistakes that you're making, how you overcame it, other things that the other avenues that you're going down. So not just 24/7 learning, building.
Yeah.
One of the other things I found is that there's lots of forums out there of people saying, oh, they've tried something that didn't work, so I tried to kind of help with what knowledge I knew, and that sort of thing is also quite useful because you're getting challenges from, or looking at other people's challenges, which you may not necessarily come across in your kind of career, but helping other people by looking at their code and trying to work through your mind and saying, oh, you missed a full stop there. This is COBOL. You missed a full stop there. That I find is very useful for your own development as well. Is kind of helping others fix their issues, and you know it's nice as a community to be able to do that. Lots of some of these help forums, you know, you've got money to get support from Apple, Microsoft, or whatever, but there is a community out there of people who are like you. They love the technology and they want to see it grow and help other people. Yeah, just get into some of those forums and you know, become a helper. It's always really good.
The highest level of learning is teaching.
So out of time, I just want to say thank you very much. But first of all of the panelists for giving their time. Big shout out to Black and Brown Men. And of course, you guys and the rest of the BCS of Grace team and Foundation, shout out Foundation. There is nibbles in the back, but I just want to leave off with this. For networking and making sure that you hold yourself accountable will make sure that you are reaping the rewards in the future. That's all I want to leave with that. Thank you very much. Let's take the time to appreciate it.
Thanks for the shout out. I just realized not many people know who the foundation is. So, good evening, everyone. Thank you for the invitation. Thank you for the fantastic panel. BCS Foundation, just a quick summary. It's a charity that's been spun out of the BCS for about 2.5 years old. What we do is support 16 to 25-year-olds that are trying to get into careers in technology. So we have programs, mentorships, bursaries that help these individuals get into and begin an IT career. The BCS Foundation actually spun out of BCS Embrace. So BCS Embrace, we started in 2020, and we had a few programs to support young people. I think we worked with a few organizations, and at the back of one of those external organizations, we also worked with the BCS, and that seed that was planted. A couple of years later, led to the BCS Foundation. So it's a registered charity, and the chair on the foundation board of trustees, and we're always looking for more mentors, more donations. We've supported about 80 students now through the cohort over the last couple of years. If you know any 16 to 25-year-old that's trying to get into an IT career, then please signpost them to the BCS Foundation. So thank you for that shout out. I just thought I would mention it because not many people here would have heard of the BCS Foundation. Thank you.